What's up, everyone? Welcome to the live stream. My name's Lewis, also known as MrCameraJunkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills and not your gear. Hopefully everything is looking good, sounding good. I've been testing out my rig, and I really think that from the last thing that I tested, everything's been going good. But I think that there might be a little bit of lag, or a latency coming through. I don't think that the machine is able to pump out the cleanest feed out there. So I tried to maximize the settings, but we're gonna roll with it and we see how it goes for tonight. But thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me. I appreciate you. And as always, I start everything with the tip of the day. And today's tip actually saved me on my last photo shoot. I have mentioned it before, but I will mention it again. So let's see about this. Okay. Memory cards. Is it getting it? Yeah, memory cards right there. So as always, we all have a variety and a bunch of different memory cards. The tip is to actually use the lock feature that's built into these little memory cards right there, because I do have a lot. And on my last photo shoot, I actually went to insert this into my camera to use the memory card, and right away my camera told me that the memory card was locked, and that let me know that there was still data and information on this memory card that did not allow, that I hadn't transferred over and backed up correctly. So I just put it down and grabbed the next memory card, and that automatically just saved me a bunch of headache with having not enough space on the memory card for the photo shoot, or maybe having to delete files that I had not backed up yet. So I believe I saw that tip from Caleb Pike, DSLR shooter. And but still, it's such a great tip because it just comes into play all the time. If you have information that you have yet to back up on your memory cards, just clip the little lock feature onto the SD cards. It's built into them, so definitely something that you should utilize. It saved me more than once again this past weekend on a photo shoot that I did. And that, like we all are, we carry a bunch of memory cards. So when you have more than one and you haven't offloaded the information, just do that. Do yourself a service, click that little lock button, and it will save you a lot of headache. So let's go there. Perfect. All right, well, that's today's tip of the day. Today we're going to be talking about Sigma and the Sigma 16mm. Yeah, it's an amazing lens. You were just seeing it because the second angle is the A6100 here, using the Sigma 16mm f1.4. As you can see, I love the colors that we get off of it. Obviously, this is one of the best lenses for bokeh. So let me get something here, another lens to display that I could just bring it right here. It focuses on it so well, so fast, and just look at what I am. I'm a blur in the background, and that's why this lens is so highly regarded. Everybody that I know utilizes this lens right now. That so many people are actually trying to upgrade their setups when it comes to live streaming, a lot of more Zoom calls, and everyone's trying to up their production value. There's a lot of people who have the smaller APS-C lineups, whether it be on the Canon M series or the Sony E mount. You can find the series of lenses, the 16mm, the 30mm, and the 56mm, all in the f1.4, and give you extremely good results. Now, talking about this lens, I absolutely love it. I use it for things just like this, allowed you to get really good images, and for photography, really great images for in low light situations. But the one thing that these lenses do not have is image stabilization. So they're like a perfect match if you have an image stabilized camera like the the A6600, but one of the workarounds that I utilize most than all is to actually utilize this APS-C lens on my full frame camera, my A7R2. Now the A7R2 has a 42.2 megapixel sensor, so when I apply the APS-C lens on it, it actually utilizes 18 megapixels in the APS-C form, which is still more than enough for 4K video. And this camera has all of those features built in, so once I throw my Sigma 16mm onto the A7R2, it gives me pretty much the equivalent of the oh, that's a little loud. All right, it gives me the equivalent of like utilizing an Alpha A6500, because it's the other camera that still has the image stabilization that Sony actually has in all of their bodies. So using that pair to use 4K, the Sigma 16mm is just hands down one of my favorite lenses. It's rectilinear, so even though it's a wide 16mm giving you a 24mm focal length, it's not really fisheye, so it's giving you a more true to life sense in the image that you get, plus you get the wide enough angle. Even though my A6100 is not image stabilized, I still use it for vlogging and just try to hold it as steady as possible, because it just gives me such a good image. There's a certain, you know, how they say, a certain je ne sais quoi, a warmth image that you get from the Sigma lenses. And I highly recommend anyone to look into this lens if you're in the market, because from live streaming to photography, low light, and just all around sharpness, build quality, I've owned this lens for over a year now, and I use it every day. So just that alone should say, you know, how I feel about this lens. But now I'm just gonna throw it to you guys. If you guys have any questions about my experiences with this lens, feel free to just leave a question, because I'm gonna go into the chat now, see who's here, and let's get into it. So okay, let me see. I'm still waiting on my iPad so that I can get the sound effects. I would already been dropping some air horns, but when I came to check it out, it was dead, so I'm waiting for it to boot up. Okay, so we have Raphael in the house. Okay, that's way too small. Let me see this here. Oh, Ecamm. I'm still learning Ecamm. Let me turn this off. Okay, so that allows me to do that. There we go. Much better. Raphael Ludwig, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate having you here. Randall says that he's lurking. That's funny. He also says, if I set up my streaming, I will use this lens. The Sigma 16mm is such a great lens, and the one thing that I think it actually has even above this lens that I mostly use, the Zeiss lens, is the close focus in distance. So for instance, if I want to highlight this piece of gear, right, if I just get this much closer, it can't focus. Like, it's trying to focus as shallow as it can, but I am reaching that minimal focal distance, and right around there we get sharpness. So I have to hang it kind of mid-tier, so you don't get that close. But now if I switch over to the Sigma, that same distance, I could bring it real close, and look, it's filling the entire screen. And that's another reason why this lens is so great. It just, you can really, it's almost like macro style, because you're able to see all the dust all over my lens. Look at all the dust. But that's about why, another reason, this lens right now, let me see, just to make sure. Got it. I'm actually utilizing it at f1.6 to give me a little bit more depth of field, but as you can see, it's still like such great bokeh effect in the image, in the shot, and such great detail in the the macro style shot. So okay, Randall also says he has the 30 and the 56 millimeter. Let's switch over to the main shot. Yeah. Okay, so he has the set. He has the combo. Okay, Mario is in the house saying hi to me and to everyone. Randall saying hello to Raphael and Mario. Okay, so Aaron says, wow, 4K, nice. Is it coming through in 4K? Like I said, I tried to set up like the best settings, but let's see if this little Mac can handle it. I really think I might need to just install nothing on the hard drive. I think I'm gonna have to wipe the machine clean and have no other programs running, like not even Google Chrome, because that's like a what's it called? It's a big draw on the computer. It pulls a lot of resources when you're running Chrome. So that being said, I think I need to just upgrade the RAM and see how we can run it, just to make sure that if I am coming in a little choppy, because I don't know if I am, I will check it afterwards. If that is a thing, I would really I would really like to eliminate that. Okay, so Aaron says, still trying to figure out if there's a way to avoid moire on certain textures, seeming worse on my ZV-1. Well, it is unfortunate, but I believe that's gonna be like, if I'm correct, the moire is harder to remove on a smaller sensor, and the ZV-1's got the 1-inch sensor comparative to like even APS-C. I'll look into it to see if there is anything to alleviate it, but I don't know. Even right now, I think I could be getting some moire right over here, and that's just the cloth. So it is what it is, especially if things are coming out as detailed as they are. Aaron says, Randall says, Aaron, you asked that last night. And that's one of the reasons SD cards, any kind of cards, are legacy. It is technology that would be much replaced by internal memory with high sync. Much harder to run out of space compared to SD. We're having this conversation, Mario, and I find it funny because, yeah, let it be legacy, but I still see so much benefits in it. I do, and maybe it's just my workflow, but if, for example, this camera that we're looking at right here pretty much stays on the tripod right there. If I want to record a video, I go ahead and I throw it on there and I take the media out, and I'm able to put it into my Mac or into my like laptop. So whether it's the Mac Mini or my MacBook Pro, either or, I'm able to manipulate it and like back up that data much faster than if I would have to utilize my camera to then back up the data as well. Because I do understand that it could be faster, but I would still use it as the backup media. We've talked about this. I would still use it as, like, if you don't have the second card slot and you want to, have that redundancy backup, to have it, not really as a redundancy, but to have it as a main board, but still have the ability to be able to remove the media fast and then apply more media. Because let's just say the memory card fills up and then you just need to swap it out to continue recording. You're able to just take it out and do that, comparative to having to offload media if it was only in the camera. I feel that it's kind of like an iPhone. Like an iPhone gives you such great capacity, but right now my iPhone is 256 gigs and it is full to the T. And right now I don't even have space to offload that media anywhere. So it's stuck there and it's hindering me from doing other things that I want to do with my phone, because it's going to need extra space for memory, and it literally tells me that it doesn't have any. So there's pros and cons, because the pros are obviously all of the ways that you're able to utilize it and the speed, just like you do in an iPhone. The cons are the way of how difficult it is to get it off and not and have your device usable. Because if my camera for whatever reason were to stop functioning and be like, I can't take a photo because there's not enough memory, you know, that's that's gonna nobody's gonna deal with that. How is they say, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so Aaron says, yes, Randall, but don't have an answer yet, or at least one that I understand. Aaron, when it comes to the Moray, I believe the Moray is going to be in 4K, which is what I believe that you're shooting in. To remove Moray, I would tell you attempt and try to see if one of the like lesser modes, 1080, will actually suffice, because I believe the high like pixel density is what's causing the Moray. So if you minimize that with a softer codec when you're recording, could take off the Moray. If not, I would tell you to go into like, because that one has picture profiles. The ZV one has like everything, so it has picture profiles. But if you're not using picture profiles, it's the picture, I forget the name of it because I never use it. Like the standard picture, like settings, like standard, vivid, things like that. Whichever setting that you're using as far as your picture mode, go into the settings and take the sharpness and bring it down. Bring it down, I think, to -3 would be the ability that the Sony camera gives you, and see if that helps you out with the Moray, because it's you're telling the camera to be less like sharpness hungry, which the sharpness I believe is the biggest cause for Moray. So check that out and let me know if that helps you out. Okay, it says hundreds of buttons had an update with more sounds. I'm not sure what we're talking about there, but it could be Ecamm. I'm still learning it. Peter did more answer that, did he? I think. I'm not sure what that said. Okay, so Mario is saying hi to Randall and to everyone. We got a thumbs up. Tom Buck in the house. I'm still without this old iPad. It's going to take forever to boot up. I have no sound effects. Well, actually, I think this does have sound effects here, doesn't it? Let me see if I can use the built-in ones. That seems like it was really loud. But I don't know if that came across to you guys. Let me know. I definitely heard that here, but I don't know if that came across to you guys. Okay, let's ignore this. Yeah, my computer's it's pushing its limits right now with this stream, guys, because it's telling me like, hey, your RAM is full, and it never tells me that. I think maybe the air horns being asking the computer to run air horns as well was just a little bit too much, that he even gave me a warning. Okay, so Randall says it's good and no stuttering. Well, that's the goal, so thanks. Like, this thing's really holding up as a champ, being a right now 10-year-old computer, which is amazing to me. That this is a 2012? Yeah, 9-year-old going on 10-year-old computer, and it's running today's program and shooting a 4K stream out, like, it's just amazing right now. Okay, Tom is saying there's a little bit of choppiness, but the clarity is great. So I think the choppiness is my RAM. I am running 12 gigs RAM, and I checked my other machines, and I don't know why this one wasn't maxed out, but because of it, I'm not gonna waste any more time. I already have it in my Amazon cart, and I'm ordering the RAM that I need. And that's the other thing that I was thinking. I think I'm gonna upgrade the hard drive to a faster SSD so that there's even less latency between all of the components, and have that computer like literally bare, just operating system and eCam, and like the videos that I'm gonna be asking to transition, things like that. That's it. And yeah, and I think it'll get the job done as far as what I needed to do. The cameras seem to be running good, but right now it's like pushing the fan and moving a lot of air. I don't know if you guys could hear that, if that's coming through, but regardless, I'm also gonna upgrade the thermals. I have a very high high quality thermal paste that I've been using for my computer repairs for years, and it's like got real metal like flake inside of the actual thermal paste. So I think I'm gonna upgrade the thermal paste on the computer, because I have never done that, and just give it like the once over, and that should have it run cool enough so that it doesn't have to like overexert itself and be running the fan. The boost in the RAM should be plenty, because if it is running everything the way that it is right now, and it's running it with just 12 gigs RAM, which is like amazing. That to me, it's like 12 gigs RAM, but its max is 16, so I'm gonna max it out, which should give it the buffer that it needs, so that it doesn't ever give me the message of saying heavy memory usage. That's so funny. Oh, and yeah, let's try something else out here while we're going through the chat. Okay, I was able to set something up here, and boom. Yeah, see, now we got a little timer up in the upper right hand corner, and I've set up some scenes to automatically switch. So I could hide the number, but we're testing things out here, and I want to see how the computer holds while we ask it to run some switching scenes between the cameras, so that we could also add, we're talking about the Sigma 16mm, but I'm also putting it on display, showing you how good it looks, because I really like the way the colors look on the A6100. I'm even comparing it to this, the A7R2. When it comes to portraits and raw images, they're identical when I get them into Lightroom. As long as the white balance is correct, they're identical. But because this one has picture profiles, and it's just a different coloration. Look, yeah, we switched over. This one's giving me a completely different color and skin tones, even though the white balance is set the same. But that also has to do that we're not using the same exact lens, so that would also make a difference when it comes to the coloration. So I really didn't have time to try to key them in and make sure that the colors were as best matched as possible. But as far as the computer goes, then that's exactly the way that it should be, as far as the white balance goes. Okay, so Aaron says, is it coming up? Okay, it says that makes sense. It seems better on the A7 III. Yeah, especially if you're using the the full frame sensor, the full size sensor. Unless, even if you're using it APS-C, you should still be seeing less of it because of the pixel density. Aaron's saying what's up to Tom. Okay, so Everything seems to be switching on time, so that's good. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys can hear the fan. I'm hearing the fan. It's funny to me. Record videos directly in Ecamm really simplifies things. Yes, and I don't know if Raphael is still here, but something that I learned from one of his videos is that that graphic overlay on how to get like the menus onto like the screen and hovering over here. So you kind of just need to be able to record your like your dirty HDMI signal out, and that's usually done with something like a like the Atomos Ninja, that you'll actually have the ability to record what's coming out of the HDMI. But I don't have a Ninja, so with that being said, not having a Ninja, what can I do to remedy the situation? And having a program like Ecamm, the ability to record everything from the camera and save it directly into the hard drive as a movie file, and then once you have it there, it's already on the hard drive ready to be edited. It's a game changer. So going to the fact that you're able to do that directly and then have that file has really made the process of creating content a lot easier. So and a lot more fun, because it gives you a completely new tool in your arsenal. And Ecamm, it just keeps surprising me every day on all the things that you can do with this program. Yeah, like this, like the buy me a coffee, having the widgets come up and just pop up on screen. There's a lot of things that I want to be able to implement. Things that I'm looking for in the future is having that same widget, like once it actually pops up on screen and shows that somebody gave a support through buy me a coffee, I want to have the lights changed through like the Alexa. And I'm looking into all of these things just to have so much fun with the live stream, because I have so much fun with the live stream. Okay, we're on this camera here, but let me check out this. Randall saying hi to Tom. It says PMA 2012 Mac Mini. I'm not sure what the PM stands for. 4K 60 frames is where it's at. 4K 60, no, we're still checking out 4K to see exactly, because this is an upgrade. Neither of the cameras, just to let you know, I'm actually running in 4K. I'm actually pumping out a signal 1080 from each of the cameras to the Ecamm, and now I'm using Ecamm to upscale it to 4K to give the best image possible. So this is a faux 4K, so to speak, but it's kind of like the same thing that we all do with our editing programs. Like I've been doing that for my Final Cut Pro. I let it upgrade so that the final export is a 4K file when it comes to resolution and size, but my talking head portions I'm always shooting in 1080p. And then also the only thing that I actually shoot in 4K would be like my top down shots and the B-roll, because I want to have as much detail when I'm displaying the product, because some of these YouTube videos is like show and tell. You gotta show what you're talking about, you gotta show the tell, and when it comes to that part, I want to give the highest detail. I don't need the highest detail on my forehead, so. Okay, so when you get rid of legacy, there would be a learning curve. The technology will replace SD. Oh, the switch changed that. Says would change the SD cards is there. Camera companies, as with all legacy hooks, are scared to make the change. Something that could work out, let's see, it says the first one that does it well with a sympathetic workflow wins. I wasn't really reading because I had like a brainwave from the previous message. My thought on that could be, if you have like, maybe with the newer technology, when we're talking like the 5G networks, if you're able to have like an iCloud system built into these same types of cameras, where you're backing up every file directly to like an FTP server on your, like in your location, or maybe like a NAS type of backup system over the air, so that if you're doing a photo shoot, you're able to still connect to like the 5G network and transfer the files like while you're not using the camera, similar to what I had mentioned before of like having that backup be initiated when the camera's in the when the camera is kind of like in a standby mode. So if that's something that could be worked out with that same media, then I really think that's something that might be possible for the future. But I don't only see it as the companies, because if it is anything like Apple, right? Like Apple is right now with iPhones, and thinking about it that way, then I don't know if, would you want to give a camera company that much control over your data as far as your art goes? It just switched and I didn't know. Okay, let's go back to one. I don't know if I would want to give like a company like that all the information as far as my art goes. I guess I'm just thinking about it too much, but you should put something together to see, like, like a diagram of how you think that would work. Because not only that, you have to make it easier. It has to be easier. Because if there's one hitch in the giddy up, which is like, oh, I can't do this with that, it has to solve a problem. And I don't know. There's a lot of options out there, and that's why I said, like, I'm not even getting into the fact that there's these what are these products? The NAR boxes, which is kind of like you can be in the middle of the wilderness and you can just pop out an SD card and just back it up to like a 4 terabyte hard drive in the middle of nowhere. Waterproof, like rugged outdoor world, like drop it in a river proof, and you don't need a laptop, and you could just. So there's a lot of options out there, which is why I'm not sure. Aaron's talking about the moire, says it's only on certain textures, just curious. I would tell you to test out, like I said, the sharpness. Bring down the sharpness in whichever camera, like picture profile that you're using, and yeah, and check that out. So hopefully that helps. Hundreds of buttons is your sound effects apps on the iPad. Yeah, but the iPad is an old one. Oh, it's on now. There we go. We're at 2%. I have it plugged in, but let me make sure. Oh, that was my fault. Because for me to run the application, what I do is that I actually go into the settings and change it so that it never turns off, so that it always stays on. What's going on here? Don't do that. There we go. Boom. And now we're on. So now we have our air horns, right? Let me make sure. There we go. Good stuff. But what I did was I left it on. So apparently I closed the shade on it, and I forgot to take off the setting that allows it to stay on, and it just stayed on. And when I came to use it, the battery was dead. So there we go. But we're back in business. Movie mode on the ZV-1 would be your main setting. Do not use the battery mode, the beauty mode. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't recommend beauty mode for any guy, unless that's what you're into, but not for me. He gave the thumbs up. Okay, Aaron says movie mode. I was using that, but I changed it so I could control it manually as the exposure kept changing in close-ups. Yes, that's the one thing that... Well, I mentioned that more with webcams. I think that's why I don't really like webcams, because anytime you put your hand too close to the screen, it just totally changes the exposure all over the place. Kippy's in the house. He's gonna get the first air horn. There you go. Says, hey Lewis, hi everyone. Just chiming in. Have a shoot later on today. Well, good luck on your shoot, sir. I know you're gonna do fine. A professional photographer, Kippy. I don't know if I told you guys this story. It was so funny because Kippy's Instagram channel, has really no photos of him. So I got a message on Instagram from like a Kippy type channel, and I was like, is this I thought it was a unique name, but I was like, is this a regular name in other parts of the world? So we started having a conversation, and I wasn't even sure that it was this Kippy. And we just had a conversation, and then, afterwards, after a half an hour of messaging was when I was like, is this the same Kippy? Because I just have to ask you. And he just started cracking up. He's like, you didn't know it was me? I was like, I had no idea that it was you. And I was like, I will sit there, I'm that nice, and I will have a conversation with somebody for a half an hour completely not knowing who it is. And it took me a half an hour to actually confirm that this Kippy right here was the one that I was speaking to on Instagram. So that just lets you know a little bit more about me. I thought it was so funny. I was cracking up. I was like, I had no idea. But now I'm still back to my belief where that Kip has a very unique name. The video background is stuttering, but you look smooth. Okay, then you know what? Let me see if I have something else here. Oh no, it looks like I got rid of it. Maybe I should go to a static screen. Maybe that'll help as well. Instead of having a motion background, have a nice picture, but that it be static. That overlay should be a lot easier than having, the computer run this stuff. But I'm still going to do all the upgrades. So let's see. If it still gives me a little bit of stutter after I do all of those changes, then yeah. Then obviously, right? He says more RAM should do it. Probably. Like I said, we're going to check it out and see how it is. Mario says, I would not buy a camera with an anti-aliasing filter for a few pictures with Moray. I would downgrade quality on all the images, nor for me, just do what Peter said yesterday. Dial it out. I guess I did not catch that part of yesterday's stream. What about the M1 Mac Mini? That one's I think that's the logical thing, right? But right now, instead of a $700 computer or even more, because I would want the 16 gig, just so that I kind of like, if I'm getting this one, get it and kind of at least future proof it as best that I can. I'm not too big on the hard drive space because I use like external hard drives. I use the cables. I use full size or 2.5, SSDs. But the M1, I think I just need to budget for it. Right now, I can fix the stream with a hard drive that I already have and a $35 or $40 RAM upgrade. So, that's something that is kind of like a drop in the bucket. Plus, it's something that I'm going to be doing to this computer regardless. because if I decide to sell this computer to maybe budget in for the M1, I'm still gonna sell it with 16 gigs comparative to selling it with 12. So, you know, that's something that's gonna just pretty much be inevitable. So that's how I'm gonna do it. It says, can't wait for the M1 iMac. Come on, Apple. They look really nice. They look really nice. All right, so Mario's talking about the Sigmas. This is about the Sigmas. I have never owned one. How true is what Ken W was says about them? I'm not sure who Ken W is, but are they terrible quality of construction? I would not think so. I know many years ago they have had a bad nickname. That's really tough for me to answer. Now, the lens, is it a metal construction? I believe the base is. I believe the rubber like focusing ring that's really thick is like a plastic, but like kind of like this felt plastic. The remainder, the front is plastic, where you would actually put the lens hood, and the lens hood is also plastic. But quality, I think, is phenomenal. One of the things that I mentioned before is that the lens and the trio of lenses in the 1.4 that Sigma has come out for the APS-C, there's no image stabilization. So that's one of the biggest advantages I think that this lens has, because when it comes to the aperture, it's also fixed in a location. Now, what most people don't know when it comes to lens stabilization is that it works like with magnets, and the iris itself, right, the aperture is actually floating inside of these image stabilized lenses. So it's literally being hovered and being kept in a in a floating state, so to speak, through magnets, and that's how they're able to like kind of counteract your jiggliness, so to speak, and your hand motions and your jitters when you're taking a photograph. So that element and the all the components that it comes to actually controlling that part of image stabilization, excuse me, is very, very delicate. So if you were to drop a image stabilized lens, there's a higher risk of damage, whether it be on or off, because of all of those delicate components comparative to a prime lens. And from what I'm able to research, the internals on this are pretty much jam-packed. Like, the size of this lens is it's the size of a full frame lens, but it's designed for APS-C, and the majority of it is glass and the hardware that it takes to move that glass with autofocus. Because another thing is that this has really fast autofocus. It's got really fast autofocus for it being a non-native lens on the Sony E-mount system, that it rivals Sony's autofocus speed. But when it comes to build quality, I've had more than one Sigma, and even the Sigmas that I've had that were completely plastic builds on my Canon cameras were still great optically. Now, I'm also giving the disclaimer, I'm very good with my equipment. You know, I take very good care of my gear. You know, so with that being said, I could be a little bit more cautious with my equipment, and I think that the build quality that I get from Sigma is more than enough for the way that I treat my gear. That could be completely different for someone else. And the reason why I specify that so much is because not so much in the photography world, but in the iPhone repair world. Did my speaker just die? That would suck. Testing. Hopefully you guys could hear me. I should be coming through. Okay. This seems like a sad song. Let's change that. That sounds better. Okay. In my experience with phone repair, what I've been able to notice is that I take care of my phones a lot better than other people do. And, when I used to have the shop, I would have people come in and be like, hey man, this phone's not working and I didn't do anything to it. And they'll literally just throw and slam the phone right in front of me. That just leaves me like, if you slam your phone that hard every day and you say that you don't do anything to it, we have two completely different ideas on what having nothing done to a phone is. So, I've seen that just firsthand on how people react with their equipment. So with just that kind of leaving it up for debate, I know that I take care of my gear and I've never had a problem with any of Sigma's lenses, the ones that I've come across. I think the build quality is great, but like I said, I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't know. I think my headphones died. Hopefully I'm coming in clear because I can't hear anything. Let me make sure I'm plugged in here. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, we'll check that later. Aaron says bye-bye fan noise forever. Let me know if you guys just, if you guys could hear my Mac going. Because I know I got a little bit of music playing in the background. Let me know if I'm coming in clear and if you can still hear the fan. Because the other thing that I want to upgrade is my microphone. And I was looking into it and I've heard a lot of great things from, like shotgun microphones. That's what I've been using. My Zoom H5. I listened to a couple of my live streams from the back and I'm like, yeah, that totally needed an upgrade. So that's why I stuck with this. I think I've gotten it to the best that I can get, but I wanted to reject a little bit more background noise. And from what I'm understanding, that's not what these microphones are made. The shotgun microphone is to be directional, to get good audio from me, but then also to pick up everything in the ambiance and make sure that everything is heard, which is what I don't want. So I'm looking in to see what's going to be my next microphone. I believe I had mentioned it before that I was also looking into getting into voiceover work. So the voiceover work is the other reason why that I'm just going to invest in a very good microphone one time so that I can kind of take care of both things. So I have looked at some pretty inexpensive options. If Tom is still here, I am thinking about the Rode Pod mic, but I'm also thinking about just maybe not starting there, just getting, buying it right instead of buying it twice. So I'm budgeting. I'm looking into, what's going to be my new microphone, but definitely that's also going to be in the works. And if I can get a microphone that rejects noise better, then even a small amount of fan noise shouldn't hurt me or hurt the stream. It says most of those off because I didn't hear Peter's answer to Aaron's question. Yeah, I didn't catch that either. But dealing with my little man, sometimes I can, Okay, Sly is in the house. How are you doing? Says, hi, Lewis and fellow junkies. Happy Saturday. Lewis, I know I just came in, and I don't mean to be mean to switch topics on you, but I do want your thoughts on the GoPros for vlogging. Okay, not a problem, especially you, Sly. Thank you for stopping in. The GoPros for vlogging, well, they're fine. They're actually super convenient when it comes to battery life. The one thing that, from what you like and what you're used to is good audio, which is where they lack. So the GoPros could be great for vlogging, but if you want to get the highest quality, you're going to need to invest like in a recording system. Now, I believe we had talked about this before in a previous live stream, and that you were using the Rode Go little like wireless receiver. The new Rode Go 2 version 2, the one that comes with the 2 extra microphones and the 1 transmitter, that thing just recently got a new upgrade that's really got me thinking like, wow, that's a really great investment. Not so much for the sound quality, but it actually turns each one of the microphones into a standalone recorder with 32-bit float, meaning you can never scream high enough to make the audio peak, and you can never kind of go low enough where that it won't register anything. It's pretty amazing. They give like 8 hours of recording. So what I would recommend, whether it be something like that, or even using, let me grab it, this is my H5, and getting something like that, and then using that connection there, that 3.5 millimeter jack, whether it's a different type of a Tascam digital recorder, something of this sort, and run a lavalier microphone, something to get you better audio. That's it. If you can patch better audio with the GoPro, I think they're great vlogging cameras. Me, I'm not the biggest fan of fisheye, but there are ways of correcting that in post if you want to get into it, so that you can still take a fisheye type of image and then kind of flatten it out so that it could be more rectilinear. The corners do warp out, but it also gives you the ability to like crop in to that image in post so that you can just cut out the best looking image from the center. So that little like hack and good audio should just put you in a good position to use GoPros. I do have a kind of a co-creator acquaintance. His name is Neil C. He's has the channel Urban Explorer in the UK. He does van like modifications and renovations, and he does all of his videos with GoPros. He absolutely loves it because of the convenience that he gets with that workflow. So if it works for you, then it works for you. And I don't really vlog in that sense. Like, I don't go out and just vlog out on the town, so to speak, or just walking around. If I do vlog, I'm always in my car. And I've also noticed that the car, if you can just park somewhere pretty quiet and turn off the engine, that can work like a really good sound booth, and with a nice little microphone you can get really good audio, whether it's on your phone or using a camera like my A6100. So various a lot of options that you can have. Yeah, I think I blew out my monitor, so I think I'm gonna need to get a new one. It's trying to kick on every once in a while, and while I'm talking I see the levels are going, but while I'm talking it's just popping in my ear like popcorn. Joanna Torres, welcome to the live stream. I just have to say that. Thank you for coming to hang out. Appreciate having you here. For all of my camera junkies, all of the family, Joanna is like my cousin, like family. So love to have you here. So glad that you're here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. I've also been trying to help Joanna with her live streams. She's been doing them on the phone and she's been doing a great job. So like I said, anything that you have a question with, just leave it in the chat and I'll do my best. Mario's like, new media to replace SD cards, both help storage of images and processing them, 1 terabyte plus. I just like you say 1 terabyte, and I'm like, we would have to, we could sit down. This could be a podcast. That could be a good thing. Um, because I see it like I'm not even dealing with a terabyte. I'm dealing with 256 on my phone. It's like, where am I gonna put it right now? Yet this is one of the tips like of the day that I had given before, which is I do not erase certain memory cards. You know that little lock thing? There's 3 memory cards that are sitting in my drawer over there that I never put in rotation because the information that's on them, like, that is the original copy, and that's all of my paid work. So all of the work that I've done as far as portraits that, you know, I'm getting paid and I'm giving a copy, I will always have the original. So even before anyone can say I have the raw on a computer hard drive, no, I have the raw on the original. It's almost like saying I have the picture negatives, which are how we would keep like the authenticity of the original photograph and the ability to reproduce it again. So because digital media now replaces traditional film, and that's what I'm saying, like this little card right here, 64 gigabytes from Lexar. I'm not sure, but I think it's $11, $11.99, like $12 on Amazon, and it gets to your house in like 2 or 3 days. That's a no-brainer. I pick 2 up every once in a while, just randomly. Like, oh, like now that I'm gonna buy memory for this computer, most likely I'm gonna have a couple of memory cards come through to say $22 or $24 to have 128 gigs of memory that I can back up when we're always looking for different ways of having more memory, having more space, buying extra external hard drives to back up this data. I think that's where the convenience of this legacy, you know, information is. Just the simple fact that you can just buy another piece of media, record on it, and that's the original, and save it as a backup, which is what you just wouldn't be able to do with it being on the camera. 1 second, guys, need to hydrate. All right, and we're back. Okay, he continues and says, and if that is not sufficient, Yahoo, you always have other options. A battery pack for insurance. Awesome. Look at this. Look, this is so cool. Like, he's, thank you, Doc Rock. Doc Rock, I don't know if you're here in chat. Thank you, man. See, that's exactly what I'm saying. That worked, so that's one thing. Okay, so the widget came in. Doc, appreciate you helping me out with my caffeine addiction. And yeah, and now next I want to get the lights to go off and change, you know, something like this. Let me see if I can get a quick change. Boom. Get the lights to switch up a little bit. Little motion in the lights there. That is so cool, man. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate you. Doc Rock, for those of you who don't know, he's also a content creator. He started a community called the LGL community, the Let's Get Live community on Facebook, pretty much in December, and it has blossomed. It has blown up from, like, I think I was there around the 100 member mark, and we're like reaching 700 right now, which is amazing, of fellow content creators who are all using a live platform, whether it's Amazon Live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, you know, obviously YouTube Live, like myself. So many different avenues. There's LinkedIn Live, and there's it's a community of like-minded individuals, and we're all here to help each other level our live stream, better, so that we have the best audio, best overlays, the best ideas, and we're always bouncing ideas and help. So one of the things that I do is that I have the ability to just go live in the community, so I can use this entire setup, and that's why I believe everything's been going pretty well today. As far as the audio goes, Mario's been asking me questions, and one of them has not been to put up the microphone. So that means I'm doing things good, but that's all through the help of this community. And Doc Rock was somebody that I met through a live stream at the beginning of December. And it's through his community that started me on the live streaming every day for that Vlogmas thing. So it's just comes full circle that he has now kind of started a new endeavor with the Let's Get Live business, and he has like a Let's Get Live full online coaching business with partners that have strengths in all the aspects of live streaming, and it's been such an awesome success. And Raphael Ludwig, if you're still here, if you're listening, this one goes out to you. I would like to personally invite you to the Let's Get Live community, because I think you'll love it there, especially you that are, also starting in that leveling up your live streams, even though they're awesome. But, that if you have any questions, it's a really great community to help each other in the live stream. So yeah, Aaron also as well, you know what, I'm gonna send you an invitation tonight. I'm not sure if you're there. I don't think so, but definitely, because definitely help in every aspect. And I'm also part of the eCam community, because I'm new to the eCam and I'm learning the ins and outs of this program, which give you the ability to do so much. And yeah, it's super cool. But look at that. I just want to thank again Doc Rock. That is so cool. All right. So Randall's saying hi to Sly. You see, and for those of you wondering, the way that I'm able to put these messages on the screen all has to do with eCam. For those of you who are hardcore, Camera Junkie crew that have been with me since December, since when I first started getting on these live streams, that I've been working my butt on trying to get these messages on the screen so that we can have the flow. And we've tried so many different options, and I've went from OBS to Streamlabs OBS to StreamYard to everything. I tried even Restream.io one time, and that was just too much, because I was just trying to learn how to live stream when it just wanted me to live stream to so many different platforms. Streamlabs I do recommend for someone who is using OBS and you want to go completely free. But if you're willing to invest in yourself, I definitely recommend going with the eCam, because not only is the program so great, but the community is even better. Anytime, and I really mean anytime, that you just want to learn, play with the program, and have questions about it, you can literally go live in the community. And Doc Rock, talking about him, had a live stream not too long ago where the creators of the application, Ken, just hops onto his live stream and is there on stream and just part of the community. So a community where you have such a great program and the ability to speak to the creators of the program one-on-one and give your feedback, give your admiration for the program. It's an amazing community. So highly recommend. Okay, Mario says the redundant. Oh, this one came in really big. Let's bring it down a little bit. The redundant, fast, and secure syncing is not an issue with the new tech. Remember, when we moved from film, the new move will not be painful at all. The point is when and why is so late. Okay, I do understand that, but there is a big difference that I think that this is where we differ. Digital media fixed a lot of things compared to film. So with film, you had limited amounts of exposure. You had to carry different types of film for different types of light. And when you were done with the film, you were not able to go home and display what you had just created unless you had access to your own darkroom. So someone like me, I would have to go get them digitally processed and then see if my images came out correctly. Once we moved into digital, even if it wasn't, because we didn't have SD originally, we had bigger file formats, CF cards, compact flash, and not even the CF Express, but just the original compact flash, those big 32 pin connector cards, and God knows of what other types of media that we had. With that being said, that still it solved a lot of issues of having to go and wait for exposures or have access to a darkroom. So I think that solved a lot of problems, and it was why it was an easier push over to that type of memory and media. I don't see that the media inside the cameras fixes so many issues or solves so many problems to say, hey, you know what, you don't have to go to the to get your images digitized. You don't have to do a lot of things. You don't have to wait. You can go home and it put the power back into the creator's hand. Excuse me. So that's where I think that the digital media, I will never touch digital because it's not. There you go, Aaron. He calls it brunch.
Come on.
Fudgy bread sounds pretty good, actually. Yeah, if it's flaky, it's called a chocolate croissant, right? Or a donut, right? It's just so good. One of the things that I've had as a child is Nutella, and Nutella on toast is just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. It's just so good. Randall says, angel cake with fudge icing. Oh, I'm getting the little spinny wheel. My computer. I'm really pushing the limits of this computer. I'm looking at the feed and the little ticker. The ticker looks like it's glitchy. Oh man. Kippy's laughing, says, yeah, I remember that conversation we had. Oh, he's talking about, a half an hour conversation on Instagram. It was so funny. My favorite birthday cake is angel food cake with strawberry icing. Delicious. That sounds good. You guys are this is really taking a hard turn to desserts over here. This conversation is going from 16 millimeter to 16 donuts at Krispy Kreme that I'm probably going to be ordering. All right. So speaking of birthdays, Randall, you're having a good celebration weekend. That's right. I believe tomorrow, or no, today. Actually, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Randall. Today, the Sunday, the 11th, right? April 11th. Happy birthday, Randall. I hope you're having fun, and I hope that you have a great weekend planned out, and yeah, I wish you all the best. I always am glad to have you here as being part of the Camera Junkie community. You're a vital part, and you're always appreciated. So thank you, sir, for everything that you do. You're a good friend and an excellent moderator. So as always, thank you, sir. And happy birthday. Hopefully that suffices, because I don't sing, and it's really hard to keep up to Peter. I'm over here needing to hydrate to keep my throat, moistened, and yeah, singing is just not my forte. Second. Okay, we've been streaming for an hour and 16 minutes. Now, there are some changes, guys. I just want to bring it up right now because I mentioned it. I think next week I'm going to try my hardest for everyone who's here and listening and watching in the replay that I'm going to try to do 10:55 p.m. so that if it extends a little bit longer, but try to start it an hour earlier. So is no guarantees. We will all know by by my updates, but I'm going to try my hardest to actually start the stream an hour earlier and to try to see if how early I can start. I'm really shooting to see if maybe we can bring it even to 10 o'clock, but hey, because I'm still even on the road. Like today I was on the road to 11 something, so I think 11:05 was when I got here to start doing all the YouTube stuff and the stream stuff. So I try my best, but if I'm able to have things in order ahead of time, I already have the set and everything. Let me change the color back again. Bring back to those magentas. I think I'll be able to do it at least an hour earlier starting next week, and if everything works well, then maybe moving forward I can start continuing to have it at 11. So here's to that. Fingers crossed. Aaron says Cool Whip. Oh, we're talking about the strawberries angel food cake with Cool Whip. Mario saying that sounds good. Randall says not yet worked today. Sunday is the celebration. Well, I know you're gonna enjoy your day. Says sound is good. Also longer range from the Rode Pro 2. Okay, yeah, so we're talking about that Rode GoPro 2, no, I'm getting it all mixed up. The Rode Go version 2, yeah, but there's no Pro in it. So yeah, the Rode Go version 2 with the two microphones, that new the new update, the firmware update, man, it made that thing a powerhouse. Basically, you no longer need the transmitter. So you can go off access. If you lose transmission, it's recording a file directly to the receiver. So even if it doesn't have connection to the transmitter, you can turn it on and have it record directly through the microphone or using a lavalier. So I think that's an amazing piece of kit that you can pick up, because with a good lavalier you can just have that on for 8 hours on the day and know that everything that you're saying is going to be picked up, so that you're able to just get the files that you need. The other thing that I would recommend, if anyone is actually doing that, because I'm just giving you my opinion, who wants to edit an 8-hour file of audio? Exactly. But time code, I believe, is also part of it. So whichever camera that you're using, try to see if that's an option that you can synchronize with it, so that way you can synchronize your audio to the video and have just the parts that you have on video connected via time code, so that you can just edit that and pull the audio that you need, instead of having to sift through an entire day of you recording yourself. Okay, what Peter Gretsch said about moire is that it happens at a specific frequency of the symbiosis. Okay, Just change one of the values of the variables. The frequency changes, no more moire. Okay. I'm going to have to definitely look into that to see exactly what that is. I know. Oh, which camera is it? There's a new camera. Oh, I think it's, yeah, it's the most expensive camera on the market. I'm like, I read something about this. And yeah, the most expensive camera on the market right now, in this ecosystem, is the Sony A1, and that one has a new like variable, like it's to adjust flicker rates and moire. So it literally, if you're shooting at 24 frames a second, it has like a mid type of frequency that it won't shoot at 24, but it'll shoot at 24.9 or something of that sort. Sorry that I don't have all the exact details because I only read upon that once, but it is the Sony A1 that has that new like it's kind of like an in-between frequency, so that you can remove, like lines, flickering, and moire. Also, I think that camera doesn't have an anti-aliasing filter to get the high megapixels. So with that being said, shouldn't give you that problem. Oh, Doc Rock is here. Look, that's Doc Rock. So, sir, I appreciate you. I'm glad that you were able to hear what I said. But yeah, that's super cool, man. Thank you very much. Much love, sir. And that's the other thing. The day that, I first met Doc Rock through a live stream, it was just, I had mentioned it before, but it was just such a cool experience. It was like an instant click, like it felt like family. And then I was able to catch his live stream on a Saturday, and he took the time to give me some pointers and look over my channel on the fly, which blew me away. And the rest is history, But that's the creator of the Let's Get Live community, and I highly recommend for all of you guys to check it out on Facebook. Such an amazing community there, and yeah, we really look out for each other and help each other to make each other better. Okay, Sly says, I had the mobile lav mic that plugged into the camera when it gave up the ghost. I bought the Samsung without researching enough, and it works great for zoom, but you can't plug it into the camera. The Samsung. If it's the Samsung Q2U microphone, or maybe you got the Samsung lavalier, you can't plug it into the camera. Okay, Sly, I'm gonna talk to you because there's a couple of things when it comes to the microphones and the lavaliers. There's two types, okay? A lavalier microphone, let me see if I have one lying around here. Yes, I do. Perfect. Okay, so demo mode, here we go. Okay, this is a simple little lavalier microphone. You can see lavalier microphone, but let's take a look at the tip. Let's see if we can get that in focus. Oh, I'm gonna go. Okay, let me see. There we go. Come on, there we go. Okay, right there you'll be able to see that there are three little black rings. That means there's a base, there's a metal ring in between the base and the first black ring, then a second ring, and then the tip. That's basically what TRRS stands for, which is tip, ring, ring, and sleeve. Sleeve being the base. So just like that, if this is what your microphone looks like, Sly, and you're plugging that directly into your camera, it's not going to work. Now, most computers have the ability to accept TRRS. Oh, it's this camera. The TRRS connection. But most likely your camera is going to use a connection like this, which only has one sleeve, as you can see. So this is called TRS, so it just has the tip, the ring, and the sleeve, and is missing that second sleeve. I mean that second ring, I apologize, right before the sleeve. So what we use, let me see if I can find mine here as well. Yes, is this. Let me see if we can finalize that as well. This is a converter. So as you can see, for your camera, it has the TRS, which is standard for your camera, but then the insert here is a TRRS. So it will accept the multi-sleeve connection and convert it to the single sleeve, allowing the lavalier microphone to work on your camera. So check that out, because it could be that simple to allow you to use the lavalier microphone on your camera. Okay, Randall suggested maybe the 90D was shutting off because it didn't sense enough activity or got bored. Is that a possibility? It is, but I believe you told me you were recording on it. So if you had hit record, it should have been recording. Let me know as well if that was the situation, because if it was on standby, yes, the 90D will shut down. It will shut down on itself. So yeah, just like I said, if it feels like it got bored, yeah, it'll just be like, oh, I'm not doing nothing, so I'm just gonna take a nap. All right, so Mr. Riley's World is in the house. What's up? That deserves an air horn. How are you doing, sir? Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. All right. Says, love you, fam. Proud of you, LV. You doing it, homie. Aloha. Thank you, Doc, man. I'm that's what I am doing. I am getting it done. Man, this is a full house. Look, Jeff is in the house. What's up, man? I got my peoples in here, man. Welcome. Jeff is a really cool content creator that I was luckily able to meet through the Clubhouse application. But glad that I have you here, man. I know I've been staying away from Clubhouse. It has been intentional. You know, I've had certain things in my life, some T's that I needed to cross, some I's that I needed to dot. And I've been doing a lot of that in this kind of hiatus, and also it takes a lot out of me, because give you a little example, because you know about Clubhouse. It is comparative to like a podcast, but the fact that you do have the ability to interact always gets me. So with podcasts, I'm able to be a little bit more productive because of the simple fact that I cannot interact. So I am stuck at just listening. But whenever I'm in Clubhouse, I'm always like, ooh, I got to raise my hand and just be part of it. And then once you're in the mix, man, you've lost a couple of hours in no time. So I've had to, put a couple of priorities. But now that I've gotten a couple of things set, I don't know if you were here. I'm looking into my new microphone so that I can just finalize all of these things, and I should be back on the Clubhouse with my air horns pretty soon, man. But thanks for stopping by, man. That's super cool. Okay, Randall says he'll be right back, folks. How are you able to give to the coffee? I can't find the link or widget. I believe the link is in the description of the video for the Buy Me a Coffee, and then it'll throw you onto the Buy Me a Coffee page. The widget is activated through the eCam, which is another reason why this program is so amazing, because of that fact. Like, okay, hold on. The Buy Me a Coffee thing is not allowing me to move the words. But the program links directly through that, and it's got options for various others that use widgets, and yeah, I think like Twitch streamers, whenever you get a support donation through there, will also pop up with something similar like that. But the fact that it's already linked in and it's working, that's super cool. And And yeah, like now I wanted to see how I can get that to work with what was I saying, to work with my Alexa lights here, to see if I can get some movement on the lights and get that switched around whenever somebody gives some coffee funds. Okay, so Mario saying happy birthday to Randall. Says Sly, does the 90D have a time limit while recording? I think it does. I think the 90D has a 30-minute time limit. I think that's part of one of the limitations of it not being a full-fledged video camera when it was released. Even though I think Canon came out with that on the R5, and that wasn't even a thing. Like that, what would cause companies to differentiate a DSLR comparative to a full-on cinema camera was like that they had to pay this extra tax. I believe it was for France, could be wrong, but it was a special tax that's why they would like make the cameras have that 29.59 limit, so that they would not get charged that extra tax for recording longer than 30 minutes. But that hasn't even been in effect for such a long time. So that's why I said it really doesn't matter. Says 10 would be great. Not sure what that means. Okay, so Randa says thank you, Mario. Says it's 30 minutes like the 80D, but so far the 80D has never gotten bored, just doesn't have a very good microphone. Yeah, that's one thing that was a huge difference when it came to creating content with Canon cameras to Sony cameras. Audio is such an important thing when it comes to creating content, and I'm gonna say how it is. Canon's preamps are absolute garbage. Maybe right now in their newer cameras they're better. That was a perfect tone for their garbage preamps, because I remember even using my Canon 7D and trying to get I love the video files that I would get off of it, but even adding a microphone to it and taking their preamps and bringing it all the way down, so much like self noise, white noise that would come through. It was just horrible, absolutely unusable. That's why I got this guy, the Zoom H5. It wasn't the best, but it was so much better than any preamp that I got on a Canon camera. And I believe that those series, the 80D and the 90Ds, maybe the 90D better, but definitely the 80D suffers from the bad preamps. So yeah, it looks like you have great equipment, Sly, but like your audio is what suffers when it comes to that. Oh, Randall says he found the link. Great. Okay. Sly says the mic has 3 pins that plug into the transmitter box. The receiver plugs into the computer via USB. You're 100% correct. The old mobile has the TRS and would plug into the camera. No, that wasn't it. This is the next one. And yes, I was in the middle of recording when it shut off. I heard it. It was in the middle of soldering a connection and couldn't do anything about it. I'm just wondering if that was just like a fluke overheating thing. Like maybe it just felt like it overheated, or maybe even had because if that was the same time, and this is just me thinking, Sly, if that was the same time where you went to look for the data and it wasn't there, it could have been a memory card issue. It could have been just like the camera had a huge brain fart, didn't know how to dump the files onto the memory card, probably had an issue with it, and then just kind of shut down. like got stuck on stupid, like I like to say. You know, I don't know, because I've seen stuff like that happen with pretty much all electronics. You know, I've had a Canon camera before where I was like, it just got stuck on stupid, gave like an error 99, and I would have to take the battery out, put it back in, and like reboot the system. I've been doing that with computers for years. So wouldn't be surprised if these microcomputers that happen to take images would maybe have had a similar issue, especially when there's so many components that are very similar when it comes to the buffer, read and write, memory speeds. And if it was having trouble offloading the data, it could have reached a point of like overheating where it kind of just shut itself off as far as preventative maintenance, which computers do that. Before they reach the point of melting and damaging, they will just shut down and be like, done. Donezo. Okay, so Renda says, I left the out of your link. I think the at said, I guess. Mario says 10 p.m. Oh, okay, says 10 would be better. Yeah, like 10 p.m. to start the stream. That would be ideal. Because then like by midnight there could be even a 2-hour stream and I can still have more time to get things done. Like if, speaking honestly, right? If I were to start at 10 and end at 11, I wouldn't feel too bad getting Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme at 11 o'clock, not the end of the world. Krispy Kreme at 2:30 in the morning, that's like an issue, right? I was like, that seems like a problem. I gotta go to the ATM to get some Krispy Kreme money. 3 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't seem like it. It says that also happens if you had another file on the SD card and ran out of space. Yeah, similar. Yeah, I was thinking something of that sort. Like it just had a problem offloading what was in the buffer. Whether that it couldn't delete the older file, just ran out of space and just overheated, like kind of like pressure bus pipes. Like the fact that it didn't have anywhere to offload the data. So yeah, he says with the new file. All right, guys, we've been at it for like an hour and 40 minutes. I'm going to ask you now if you guys have any final questions about the Sony A6100. Excuse me. Okay. Dried up real good there. If you have any questions about the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and if not, I'm going to give you some time. But if not, then I'm already going to start letting you know. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for spending your time here with me, your most precious commodity. I'm glad that you had fun. I always have fun here on the Camera Junkie live stream. And I appreciate you, all of you, CJC, Camera Junkie crew, all of you guys here hanging out with me and sharing your time and your experiences here on the Camera Junkie live stream. So let me see. Well, I think that's it. Yeah, everybody's just saying good night. Once again, happy birthday, Randy. There you go, double time. Some more applause for you. Happy birthday, sir. I hope you enjoy yourself tomorrow. Have a great time. Relax. And enjoy your day. It's your birthday. So, once again, happy birthday. Thank you for everything that you do. Hanging out here. Helping mod And like I said, just being a good friend. So as always, thank you. So Sly says, brand new SD card. I've used in the camera since Christmas fiasco. I shoot a baby shower. So new SD card and fully charged battery. Battery still shows full power. I'm thinking it's the camera. Well, it could be. It looks like you're checking all of the options of what it couldn't be, you know? So if you're checking all the lists and it still just says it's the camera, then sell it to Adorama, right? Or to somebody. Excuse me, I'm yeah, I think that's it. Like, even my voice is saying that's all the moisture for the night. That's it. Time to get something to drink, relax the vocal cords, and that's it. Yep. Mario saying bye, and I will have to concur. Once again, everyone, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you as always. I am going to be making some more content this week. I have, some shorts and some videos sprinkled in there. And as always, I will see you next week on the live stream. Make sure that if you're in the Peter Greg group, or if you're not, on the notification squad here, that I will be leaving that information one way or another to see if I have the ability to go live earlier next week at 11 instead of midnight. Trying to inch our way the closest that we can, and setting one foot in front of the other. I'm just setting up all the things necessary so that if I get here 5 minutes before 10 o'clock, I'm still able to just go turn everything on and go live. So if I have that ability to do that, then I think it's just going to be the easiest way to get to the shorter or to the earlier times on the Saturday evenings. But as always, thank you. That's for Aaron, and that's for everyone else. Thank you as always for hanging out. I appreciate you, and I will see you guys next week. All right, have a great week. Take care of yourselves, and see you on the live stream.